Thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you very much for the invitation to be a panelist at this event. I know the introduction is a bit of a mouthful. As it says, 25 years in the maritime and the offshore oil and gas. My port industry experience is actually limited to 3 years here with RSGT, Red Sea Gateway Terminal in Jeddah. But in my limited opinion, safety is not rocket science. Safety in the oil industry is the same as safety in ports. It's all about ensuring that the technical side is safe to start with, and then when it interacts with people, that it's safe and that people use it safely. Okay, just a quick question. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, wonderful.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Right, we'll carry on with the presentation then. So just a little bit about RSGT themselves. We have a capacity of 6.5 million TEU, 2019 through to 2020. We had a throughput of 4.5 million. We're the second largest container port in the Middle East. And we don't only handle container vessels anymore. As of this year, we're also supporting the Saudi tourist industry by utilizing our key sites for their passenger embarkation and de-embarkation of cruise vessels, and we're also facilitating the loading and unloading of ro-ro ferries. So there's another dynamic to our safety requirements. Okay, so again, every company starts somewhere and they grow to be something. I mean, RSGT got their concession in 2009, started operation in 2010, and we went from 500,000 square meters terminal in 2010, and then in 2020 we acquired a portion of GCT here in Jeddah, which was 1 million square meters. So we're now a terminal size of 1.5 million square meters. So that's quite large. Okay. So my presentation is about the people side of things, and I know that Delna Budzenzer is more on the technical side, but people are very important in this equation as well. So safety is a top-down event. It doesn't come from the bottom up, and it's the same thing with manufacturers of OEM equipment as well. They design it for themselves. It's not the customer that designs it. So our board has given us core values, which are centered around responsible care, being customer-centric, dynamic, and integrity. And that's where our safety philosophy comes down from. But as ever, safety is a journey. We started in 2010 with the construction philosophy because that's where we were. Then 2010 to 2018, looking at the operational period, turning over from construction to terminal with the personnel that we had, development of an RSGT safety culture, and then bringing on board, which was then the terminal-based Fatal 5 and safety for life philosophy. As a matter of interest, I turned up on the terminal in 2018, and obviously I'm a new breath of wind, and we try and make some change and try and improve. So 2018 to 2021, we brought in an electronic safety management system. We started working along the lines of ISO 45000 occupational safety and health management, adopted the IOGP Lifesaving rules and developed our own company supplementary rules, completely revamped our HSE induction and refresher process to be on a risk-based perspective, because terminal operations change, layouts change, risks change. Okay. Moving forward, we also realize that although we always like to do everything in-house and do it by ourselves, we can't work without outside input. So moving forward, we're looking to make a significant cultural shift in improving the knowledge and understanding of safety of our people themselves. So that's a big project that we're starting off at the moment. So in the past, we've done a lot of refresher training, getting people more involved. We now have 1,600 people working for us. by the end of 2022, we expect to have 2,000 people working for us. So moving forward, we're looking at contracting an external support party to support us. We're looking at safety cultural surveys online, leadership, safety and training and awareness, and building and implementing a program for safety cultural transformation. A little bit more about that later. Okay, here's an overview of the life-saving rules that we're using. So we have driving, safe lifting, working at height, energy isolation, work authorization, bypassing safety controls, line of fire, halt work, confined space. These are very generic. These are things that happen in all industries, but it's very useful. Okay, so where did we come from in the last year? Again, we did look at passing more accountability to our leadership, managerial and supervisory personnel, and that has been a positive response. HSE part of supervision, so giving our supervisors more HSE responsibility and reporting requirements. We've gone through a program of giving everybody in the company a HSE refresher. So whether you've been here 10 years or whether you've been here 6 months, everybody is now at the same level and the same level of understanding of what the risks are in the organization. We've also refreshed our specialized skills as well. And one of the things that I mentioned in our last presentation, which was in December last year, was also an increased look at behavioral improvement and consequence management. And that has had a positive effect in the fact that people are being more careful in what they're doing and how they're doing it, and how they're interacting with people, but also how they're interacting with equipment. Okay, so implementation of and execution from the last year, as we're talking about, is new employees and contractors, HSE inductions, citing the core values, explaining the lifesavers, and introduction to our ESMS, where we also have a mobile tool where people with their mobile phone can report an incident or a deficiency on their mobile tool, and we can react that into a shorter space of time. Okay. We're also looked at and have implemented new skills, certified training, and broadening the personal view and updating of training material. So that's also been a positive experience this year. Information and communication. We've also focused a lot more on toolbox talk at the beginning of the shift and also at the beginning of critical activities. We've implemented mass communication systems using WhatsApp, so everybody on their mobile phone can get the real-time information of what we feel is important for today, this month, or this week. Information and bulletin boards and HSE campaigns on a weekly basis, again through the mass communication, through the toolbox talks, but also through the notice boards. So safety is about education and consistency. I mean, changing your approach too often doesn't help either. So I'm just an overview slide here of our divisions and departments, showing that the fact that safety is a top-down affair, and it comes from our divisions to our departments to employees and our contractors, and also our visitors who need to have an insight as to our safety and how we manage that, because they're walking around our buildings but also around our sites. Okay. So where are we going? I mean, we've done in a way what we can today, but we're now looking at safety culture and looking at safety cultural transformation. And the basis that we've used for this is the Hudson Cultural Ladder, which looks at pathological, reactive, calculative, proactive, and generative. Generative being the holy grail of safety at this stage. This is where people create their own safety and everyone is an active participant. Taking a straw poll within our organization, we feel that we're between reactive and calculative. Okay, so we react a lot, fighting a lot of fires, and we gather a lot of data. But now we need to use this data and move forward. So moving forward, where do we want to be? We want to be at least 2 steps ahead and in the proactive to generative phase. And this is not an overnight activity. This is something that we believe will take at least another 2 years. So there'll be a lot of work for myself and my department, but at the end of the day, it's down to, say, the operating personnel who have to implement this. So again, can you measure safety culture? And what is safety culture? So the definition of safety culture is the product of individual and group values, attitudes, perceptions, competencies, and patterns of behavior that determine commitment to and style of, and proficiency of an organization's health and safety management. It's a holistic thing. It's not just a small part of the organization, it's a whole part of the organization. And one of the questions that a lot of people ask as well is, can you measure safety culture? Short answer is yes. And this is typically measured through the performance of a safety climate survey with a questionnaire that explores individuals' attitudes and perceptions regarding safety. So it's a qualitative thing. It's not quantitative at this stage. So this year, moving forward with our cultural transformation, we're contracting a company to support us. We'll be doing an online safety culture survey. That online safety survey will provide us with recommendations. We'll also be doing the leadership safety training and awareness. Then moving forward into 22 and 23, again, completing the leadership safety training and awareness, the analysis of the product, obviously, and development of a future program. For formulation also, which is really, really important, is what are your success criteria? What was going to tell you that you have actually achieved your goal? Because without those success criteria, you don't know whether you've gone a quarter, a half, or maybe you've gone 125% of where you want to be. And again, it's designing of training material, designation of trainers and training, and implementation and monitoring follow-up. With the training of the trainers is whoever we bring in from outside, we can't use them to actually do the training or the implementation. It has to be our people and our organization that is actually facing forward to provide that implementation. If we provide external people, it's just another training course. If we provide our own people, this is what we believe in. So that's where we're going with safety. One of the other elements of safety is the fact the safest operating environment is where you don't have any people and everything is machine driven. Okay, so we are also in that journey of reducing the interaction between machine and person. Now that we have 1.5 million square meters of land, we have a lot of travel distances. So we're also looking at autonomous vehicles or remotely operated vehicles. We're looking at remotely operated RTGs, and we're also looking at remotely operated STSs. We actually have 2 new cranes on site. They arrived earlier this year. We're fully prepared for remote operation, and we're currently rebuilding our control suites to actually incorporate that technology and to start training personnel. Okay, so in the past year we've done a lot, but we're not resting on our laurels, and in the next year and the next 2 years we hope to achieve even more. Okay. We can't leave a presentation without COVID. All right, all of us have suffered from this, and we saw that with Delner Bobenza as well, with their forward thinking of providing the AR interaction for service and maintenance. Where are we now? We're still putting in the measures for prevention, typically washing hands, wearing your mask, and keeping distance, but also with vaccination. We have a vaccination rate of 100% for the first dose, and we are currently at 90% for our second dose. And I think for Saudi Arabia, that's a huge achievement. And I think from a global perspective, that's also an excellent achievement. Okay, so just as an overview as well, this is my last slide. It shows that safety is a journey. It's not a one-hit wonder injection of something. It's you build on what you've done before, and you take those baby steps. All right, there's no use running or jumping. It's baby steps, moving forward and educating the people that you have with you and working with you to all be at the same level. If you're not at the same level, then very often you'll find that it will get dragged down. All right, you need to bring everybody to the same level. Okay. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, that would be great.